and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Off the Mark, episode number 2. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate all the support from episode 1. It was kind of mind-blowing, the amount of feedback we got already, the encouragement, and the insight. Thank you guys so much. It's already been ridiculous. It just tells us
blew us away.
right. It just tells you guys are really you guys are hungry for like real knowledge and real truth, and we have been working 20 years in the making, honestly, 20 years in the making of nothing but studying things and trying to decipher what's what. Miss Kali, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you, Queen Tootie. I'm excited for us to have this next opportunity to do another episode and to continue this conversation. We've been getting a lot of feedback and excited to keep it going. So.
Yes, ma'am. So in today's episode, we're going to do a little bit more of a background on who we are and why we decided to do what we're doing now. And I have Miss Kali here who's going to give us a few very vital definitions, truthful, lawful definitions, as opposed to the definitions of democracy, patriot, words that are getting thrown around right now, willy-nilly, without any real fundamental definition being associated with them at the moment. So we kind of want to just give everybody just a tiny bit of a refresher and remind them, let them know that our country is still intact and we have the lawful facts to prove it by way of the definitions of these words that have been around for years. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say about all that. First, I would like to, I want to give Ms. Kali an opportunity to just give us a little bit more about yourself, about your background. We have similar backgrounds, as in, we both grew up in Christian homes, conservative families, in a sense, and, grew up in the new age of wokeness, the way we would call it, and then seeing that transition into a whole nother type of movement. So Ms. Kali, please take over.
Thank you. We were both raised in conservative Christian homes, and I think early on we both had questions that, we started trying to poke holes in the story, not out of rebellion or, just idly so, but just to have that like understanding of truth. We wanted the full picture. I think from the beginning as a child, it blew my mind that humans hadn't figured out where we came from yet. And even on our ideas of it so far, that we weren't in agreement with it. So it's like, that should seem like the number one thing that humans should be up to, right? And so I think of a lot of what we're facing now in these times is, a great awakening, a confrontation where people are having to explore their religious upbringing and how that relates to the modern world as it's unfolding. And that basically your faith is how you believe you came to be alive and are existing, and what the purpose of that is. And so I think that we both, had questions from the way initially that the Bible was presented to us, especially being women. And right off the bat, you're told that Eve messed things up. And we're still paying for it. Ugh, women, right?
Broad convenient.
You had one job. No, just kidding.
We've ruined society.
Ruined society. And then also, being a biracial, multiracial, melanated woman, being told from the beginning that your ancestors were slaves and are still oppressed, and people don't like you very much. Like, we're trying, but it's hard. We're trying to get everybody on board. It's a deal. Right. It's a dark. My bad. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Right. Such is life.
Such is life. But don't worry, we're free. Like, racism, it's like, it's done. But we're just working out the kinks now. So, like, coming into life as a child, I mean, like, you trying to find like what is good, what is evil, like what is right, what is wrong. In some sense, it's evident. Like, every child has that pure heart, that pure knowledge of just knowing. Like a toddler will see you drop something and will pick it up and hand it to you. They have just like that natural, pure-hearted inclination to help one another. You'll see them share, with their friends or animals around them. There's like that purity that is in us, and we're all just children or babies. Like, we grow up into adulthood and we have adult responsibilities and need to protect and steward the next generation of children, but ultimately we're all the children of our Creator into eternity, and we have that purity and innocence in us if we can maintain that. So I guess what I'm getting at is we had questions about the Bible, and that sent me on a journey of just figuring out really truly was my authentic relationship with God. And I've always been a lover of nature as a young child, being like a tree hugger and loving animals and everything like that, and flowers and the plants and stuff like that, and being really enchanted by folklore of herbalists and witches and alchemists and all of those kinds of things, woodland creatures and fairies. So I've had that kind of calling, and we also, both of us, as 80s babies, were raised in the Renaissance of Disney. So that as well
Yes.
has had like an instrumental influence on us. And we'll probably do another cast just completely on Disney and the alchemy of all of that. But I think of that was kind of even as an initiation school for us, that it does teach you a lot of like divine and immortal or truths. A lot of fairy tales were designed with that intention of passing down, you know, sacred knowledge from generation to generation. So I think with that combined culmination of influences, as I graduated high school and was in my college years, I got introduced to natural medicine and started to detox from having any chemicals in my environment, from the products that we use in beauty products or cleaning products, or from our food, of eating processed foods and having any pharmaceutical things. I just tried to do as little as was needed in my environment. And over the decades, that had evolved into other studies of how nature and the elements interact with our bodies. So I did a certification course as a naturopathic consultant, which pulls on a lot of different elements of cosmotherapy, from earth and gemstones and crystals to food to the cosmotherapy of the astrology of it, and just all the ways that the world around us is interacting with our body, and how we can attune and align ourselves in such a way to have our epitome or utmost of health, most vibrant health that we can achieve. And that from that place of healthiness, that we're able to act to our full potential in all that we do. So it's easier to manifest when you're feeling energized and positive about things. You know, when you're feeling sick and tired, you know, there's only so much that, you know, just getting through a day sometimes is enough. So it's task enough. So I got certification in naturopathic consultant, which led to yoga instruction. So I completed several teacher trainings with that. I got certified as a colon hydrotherapist and lymphatic drainage therapist, and EFT, emotional freedom tapping consultant or specialist, and raw food chef or raw food nutrition consultant as well. So I just tried to gather as many tools as I could to my tool belt of just really diving into an exploration and study of how our body interacts with the elements of earth and with spirit, and the alchemy of how to, yeah, just still the most pure expression of life that we can for myself and everybody. I didn't want for us to suffer, and I just wanted to have our life, as many do, you know, to be in service of figuring out how, you know, you want to leave the world better than how you came to it. So, and to leave it, you know, for thinking in terms of the next 7 generations of the world that they're going to inherit. So all of those are kind of aspects and elements that we want to be able to bring into the cast, of being able to, yeah, talk about different ways that we can take care of, have that sovereignty in ourselves, in our health, in our food care, of how we prepare our food, how we grow our food, and all of those things, and how it does interplay with our spirituality and our religious practice as such. So thank you so much, Titi, for letting me share that. And then, yes, why don't you share a bit more about your background and all that your kind of perspective, that unique perspective, because you've lived an incredible life. It's stranger than
I am extremely happy. I feel like you and I are puzzle pieces that fit together, because you brought in that that aspect of mind, body, and soul, into this idea that, you know, my journey into this political side of it, it was strictly that. It was strictly just trying to find government truths. Like I always tell people, like I got into it because of 9/11, you know, and it's the easiest answer because 9/11 happened when I was 17. Um, it was just something that, you know, it was much like with COVID. It felt like something wasn't quite right, and it was something that I wanted to start looking into, and that opened up an entire door of studying things like the Black's Law Book with you, studying things like the Constitution, which directly, as we said earlier, it directly goes side by side with God's law or nature's law, which is another thing that I cannot wait for you to get into, because these things do coincide, and they are a good structure or a good base when it comes to us figuring out the right pathways to fight for the future of this country. And they do go full circle. They are hand in hand, mind, body, and soul, and knowledge. They're all hand in hand. So I love that we're gonna be able to collide both of those aspects together. I really hope bumping the mic didn't make a big noise right now. But quickly, my background: I grew up in a Christian home, just like Kamiko. Listened to conservative radio with my father. That's pretty much all we grew up with, was talk radio. Yeah, so you know, it's similar backgrounds, but at the same time, like my involvement and learning all of this was from a completely different mindset. It wasn't like I was trying to come from the inside out. I was basically just trying to pull the knowledge from the outside and hold on to it in, you know. So it's nice to have somebody here with me that's going to help bring all of that full circle. It's going to be a good experience. You know, I think it's going to be wonderful. I've always considered myself a patriot. No, that's not true. I've always considered myself a revolutionary, somebody who is completely anti-government, somebody who's completely, when I was a kid, I guess you could say I was trying to be an anarchist, and then I quickly pulled that back because anarchy it's just illogical, you know. So yeah, I grew up as somewhat of a rebel, but I think the right definition to use would be patriot at this point, for me anyway. I was looking at the definitions earlier because we were, you know, what we were studying, and the second definition is really just nail in the coffin. It says a person who regards himself or herself as a defender, especially of individual rights, against presumed interference by the federal government. And that's literally the only thing that I've sat here working my butt off for the last 20 years trying to fight. And it's not an easy fight, because it's not like the news throws the most truthful facts at you, you know. So it's been an interesting fight, you know, but on top of that, we've had to, you know, have the word conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists thrown into our face. And the truth is, it's never really been about being the crazy lady who believes in conspiracies. It's about being people, excuse me, who find these conspiracies and turn out a lot of them become conspiracy fact. So it's just interesting. But I believe in order to be able to understand everything, or even bits and pieces of things that are going on right now with our democracy and our country as a republic, we have to be able to understand the basics, the legal basics anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, be able to sprinkle in ways to help us clear our head, you know, especially now, you know. So yeah, so that's my background. Yeah, so I think we're done. So, you know, that's basically it. It's been a fun ride. It's been an excellent experience. I've learned so much, and I kind of wish we had gotten on to do this a little bit sooner to give out information, but you know what? I'm really excited and happy that we're doing it now. So, okay, Miss Kelly, thank you so much for that wonderful intro. I'm sure there's going to be other people that are going to be just excited as I am to hear everything you have to say, get all that beautiful earthly knowledge, and maybe be a little bit more in touch with nature. You know what I mean? Why not? We have all the time in the world now to go outside.
For now, until
right. So you can find me at 2D, oh my hero on Instagram, Twitter, all of it. You can find the podcast at Off the Mark underscore podcast. Is that what it is?
Off the Mark Cast on Instagram
Off the
and
Mark Cast. Okay.
yeah.
Off the Mark Cast on Instagram, Off the Mark underscore podcast on Twitter. We're still working out kinks. I think that's what it is. Either way, you'll find us no matter what. Miss Kelly, where can we find you?
I am at wild_flourish and as our hub, and then we're building it out so that you'll be able to find us in all our different places where we're hosting the cast. And yeah, thank you so much. We're looking forward to connect with you next episode.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.